Hi everyone. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna. This morning we celebrate one of the 12 major feasts of our church calendar, all of which are feasts celebrating Jesus or the Theotokos. Think of today as the last rest stop on a highway for many exits. We now travel through Holy Week, focusing entirely on what lies ahead. Let's return to that later and spend some time talking about the Gospel. We hear that Jesus was entering Jerusalem near Bethany. This is the town that he healed Lazarus, as we heard yesterday. The crowd that was present for the healing of Lazarus was following Jesus and his disciples into Jerusalem. Imagine, they just witnessed arguably the greatest miracle of Jesus' ministry, and were still so excited that they were shouting and cheering, parading around. It was the biggest news to hit the streets. As Jesus enters Jerusalem, we hear that he rode on a donkey, as the scripture mentions. He didn't ride on a tall horse, or even a camel, as other royalty had in the past, including the wise men. He rode a humble donkey, just as Mary had ridden the donkey before he was born in the humblest of ways. We observe in the icon of the feast that people were throwing their cloaks on the ground, so that even his donkey would walk above the ground. Children climbed trees to see him pass, and everyone continued cheering all the way. Palms were waved as a symbol of victory. Palms were used in the ancient world in different religions, celebrating feasts. In Greece for victorious athletes, and here showing us that Jesus was entering Jerusalem for the last time as Christ the King. It also reminds us that at the end of Holy Week is the happiest and most joyous day of the year, Pascha, the Anastasi, our source of hope and everlasting life. So what happened? What happened to the cheering crowd come Friday afternoon? Why did potentially many of the same people who were amazed by Jesus' miracles, including the most recent being the raising of Lazarus, seem to have forgotten everything? How could they have changed their mind and their hearts so much? Well, as we will see as the week goes on, the religious rulers and officials were against Jesus because they were jealous. They didn't like that he healed. They didn't like that he taught in the synagogues. They especially didn't like that through his love and compassion for others, he had more of a following than they did. After all, he didn't come to enforce rules and religious practice. He came to offer something completely new. Jesus came into the world to save the world through him, as we read in the Gospel. He offers up his very life for our sakes, as we will read Thursday night and Friday. Back to the highway. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will traverse this week with deep senses of grief, sadness, frustration, and eventually anticipation, hope, and joy as we connect ourselves to the beautiful hymns, prayers, and themes of each day. We then come to a crossroad after Pascha. It is easy the first couple of days after Pascha to wish everyone Christos Anesti, Christ is risen, and to share kind words and gather and greetings. Where's the crossroad then? I urge us to not be like those who blessed the Lord and then shouted crucify him a few days later. They were happy to show love for Jesus when it was popular, and everyone was excited. But when push came to shove, where were they? Let us continue to share our love for Christ far beyond Pascha, throughout the year and throughout our lives. Let us remember the joy, even if it remains a tiny little flame. A flame that when we share becomes 2, then 4, and so on. May God bless you and keep you, and I wish you a very special Holy Week. Kali Megali Avdomada, Kali Anastasi.